morning, good morning, good morning. Give me some hearts if you're up and about. Life is good. Tana, what's up, my brother, my friend, my lover, my loved one, my beloved? I love you guys. I just do. When I think of my friends, I get a smile on my face and I pray for God to give them joy and happiness. Mm. It's early in the morning where you are, Tana, huh? Been up all night working on that music. That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. Uh, so let me introduce myself to those who do not know me, even though I think everybody should always know me, but there are I don't know. I don't know how many people there are in the world, so everybody can't know me. But I always want my friends to know my friends. And I also want people to kind of know who I am. I am Rosa J, doing it God's way each and every day. That's my only way. And I get stuck like everybody else. Every once in a while, things happen. Things happen to put you in a mood or mode or all up in your head about, right? So today, let's breathe. Breathe in that good air, that good peace, and release all that no longer serves us. Change our perception and we change our minds. Yes, let's perceive the world differently so that we can have a different experience here on earth. So we pray, Father, Spirit of the Almighty, source of all things, unlimitedly good. We say, good God morning. Yeah. Good God, golden day. We thank you for this new perception, this new ability to think of you, to know and accept and allow the joy of your love to overwhelm and overcast our day. To see situations differently, to remember that we are here to be happy, joyous, loving, and kind and abundant. Yes, this we know is your only wish. For we were created in love, with love, by love. For God is love. So therefore, so am I. So we just inhale this love and happiness you have given us. And we exhale anything that does not look like that. And we breathe this love and joy and happiness and abundance on everything and everyone we come in contact with today, physically, mentally, spiritually. For we share this love with everything and everybody. We have learned our lesson and we're working on getting it better, Father. For forgiveness is the way to love. We want to learn these lessons quickly, Father, in ease and elegance, Lord, for it does not have to be hard. We ask your help, your assistance. We emanate and imitate the love your Son came to show us how to do it. So we walk in the shadow of greatness and peace and love. No matter how the world may show up, we still insist on perceiving your love, God. For we know that you support us. And you send angels our way to assist us. And we say thank you. We know that you don't need our help. You just need us to allow you to do your work. We know that forgiveness is the only way to happiness. No matter how things may show up, forgive. Forgive. As your son, Jesus the Christ, said in his last hours or last minute, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So we sin and we rejoice and revel in the fact that forgiveness is our only lesson to learn. And so we open our heart to this forgiveness. We pass it on. We bless everything and everyone, and we see everything and everyone as you, God, walking. And we forgive those things that don't realize this yet. For we are all on our own journey. We may be in different places, but the lesson never changes. It is all about forgiveness. As A Course in Miracles has teaches us, forgiveness is the way back to you, God. Open that door. Allow the flood to come over us in love and joy and happiness. We send this out to everyone and everything and whatever situation they are in. We send it to the hospitals, to the jails, to the wars going on in the world. Protect our brothers and sisters. Open their heart. Mostly protect us, Lord. We say amen. Ashe. So it is. Good God morning. Share this out. Have a glorious day. You know, excuse me, in my family, we had a situation I'm going through. We lost another son recently. And I don't look at the news, so I didn't know. I kind of keep my mind off the news because the news just it just doesn't show me the good things that happen in the world as much as it does the saddening things. Well, my cousin, I guess my third cousin. Yeah, that's 3 generations moved over. You know, like you have your cousins from your aunts and uncles, right? And then you have your cousins from those cousins, which is your second cousin. And then you have those cousins who had children. And so this is a 3rd generation of cousins who lost his life. And you know, my heart wants to cry because there are still people out there doing crazy things. You know, who rides around in a car and just sprays everyone with guns for whatever reason. They're sick. But it's still, and yet it still saddens me. So I was not on yesterday because of that sadness. And then I referred to the lesson that we're going to talk about today, which is about forgiveness, as everything is like it is in A Course in Miracles. It's all about forgiveness. I don't care what the situation calls for, or what the situation you think calls for, or what your perception is of that situation. No, no one should be shot down in the street, or anywhere else for that matter. But man made guns, and man uses them out of anger or whatever. So yeah, it does bring a tear to my heart, to my eyes. Hey Leah, that we should bear bear situations like the loss of a son to the streets. And we've had that situation many times in my family. And this day's lesson is all about repeat lessons. Repeat lessons. We repeat lessons when we didn't get it the first time. And I remember the very first time I think my cousin Marlon, this must have been about 40 years ago, was killed in the street. He's on my father's side. And then proceed. I can name them, but I don't want to. Unless I'm blessing them. His brother killed in the street. This is a lesson that we always learn. I remember asking my grandmother Gladys why she was not saddened by death, and she told me everybody has to die. There's only one way out of this world, and that's through death. Normally, you know, the Bible talks about people being lifted up, just disappearing. But, and I should say, it's just something that happens. And it happens sometimes unexpectedly, but it's still something and a lesson to be learned in that whole thing. And it brings on all kinds of emotions, right? So let's listen to, and I'm going to post this lesson because I've been listening to this lesson along with the other lessons since Saturday. I posted it Saturday, a day before. It was early. But I've been listening to it off and on for the last couple of days because I needed to wrap my head around and my heart to the loss of a loved one, to all those emotions that come in that whole experience, you know. It makes me smile a little bit because the thought just hit me. Um, and you've probably heard this either through your church home or whatever, pastor or someone. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Well, you don't really have to die to go to heaven. Heaven is a consciousness. Heaven is a space of happiness, joy, love, where you see forgiveness in everything and everybody. Heaven doesn't necessarily have to be a place physically. You don't have to leave this planet to live and walk in heaven. But that's my opinion, and that's what I come to. Just like I know that in my whole consciousness, to be out of the body is to be with God. I have to understand that this thing we call a body only houses the greater spirit of me. And I also have to believe that when the body is released, when death comes, true life and freedom begins. That I have already done what it is that I was supposed to do here. The lessons that I was supposed to learn, I learned. Now, some people, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying not all the time do those lessons mean that you pass the test. I don't know. I don't know if that's the truth, but I want to believe that when we leave and let this body go, no matter how it happens, my lesson is already done. I've already learned that lesson. It's time to leave. It gives me solace when I think about that. Because I used to go through serious emotional trauma when people died. And I still go through sadness, but I like to reflect on the joy that they brought to me, how I saw them last, and what did they give to me. So anyway, it took me, today is what, Wednesday? It took me a minute to wrap my head around all of this. What do you think about this? How do you perceive? How do you perceive leaving this planet? Do you reflect on the joy that that person brought, the lessons that they, oh yes, we will miss them. That's beyond a doubt. We're gonna miss them. However, hey Charlotte, however, they served their purpose while they were here. They gave you something to think about, or showed you love, made you laugh, made you cry. But anyway, like I said, I've been thinking about this more so since my cousin was left this planet again. Again, another cousin leaves. Young man. And we always get overwhelmed when it's the youngsters that leave. Elderly people too, but when a young body leaves, we always say, oh, that's an inappropriate timing. But who are we to say? Only Spirit knows how long we have to be here. And so we are grateful for the time that we have here. Yes, let's get on with the lesson. The lesson is all about forgiveness. Remember, the thing about A Course in Miracles, the underlined lesson is forgiveness. Because we stay in our mind and it shows up in a whole lot of different ways. So let's pray as we go into this lesson. All things are lessons God would have me learn. All things are lessons that God would have me learn. But does God really know about lessons? God does not know of learning. Yet his will extends to what he does not understand, in that he wills the happiness his son inherited from him be undisturbed, eternal, and forever gaining scope, eternally expanding in the joy of full creation and the eternally open and willing and worthy, wholly limitless in him. That is his will. And thus his will provides the means to guarantee that it will be done, that it is done. God sees no contradiction, yet his son believes he sees him. Remember when we say forgive and then we'll come back and say, but so-and-so did such and such. That's a contradiction. Thus, he has a need for one will. Thus, he has a need for one who can correct his yearning sight and give him vision that will lead him back to where perception ceases. God does not perceive at all, yet it is He who gives the means by which perception is made true and beautiful enough to let the light of heaven shine upon it. He who answers what his son would contradict and keeps his sinlessness forever safe. Sinlessness, being without sin. These are the lessons God would have you learn. His will reflects them all. They reflect his loving kindness to the Son he loves. Each lesson has a central thought, the same in all of them. That central thought is forgive, and I will see this different. The form alone is changed with different circumstances and events, with different characters and different themes, apparent but not real. Remember, those are illusions, things that our mind wants to tell us that are true, and then it proceeds to show us that it's true. But the perception is, and the reality is, forgive and you will see things differently. Forgive and you will see things differently. Write that in the chat. Forgive and you will see things differently. You'll see that thing differently. Perceive forgiveness, and this too will change. Certain it is that all distress does not appear to be but unforgiveness. Pretty much. No contradictions, no buts and ands. Yet, that is the content underneath the form. No matter what the situation might be, it's all about unforgiveness. Unforgiveness shows up in a lot of different ways. This is the sameness which makes learning sure, because the lesson is so simple that it cannot be rejected in the end. How many times have you seen or been around a dying soul? They always end up in forgiveness. Oh, that bitter end. No one can hide forever from a truth so obvious that it appears in countless forms, and yet it is recognized as easily in all of them. If one but wants to see the simple lesson there, forgive and you will see this differently. I'll tell a little personal story here. My father's mother loved me. She named me after her. She loved me throughout my whole existence. There was nothing she would not do for me until my father died. I don't know, somehow or another, it turned to dislike. No matter what I did, our relationship changed. But on her deathbed, she asked for my forgiveness. She asked that that I forgive her for all that she had done over those years after my father passed. And she said she didn't know what got in her. I looked just like my daddy. Maybe it was the fact that every time she saw me, she saw him. And that just made her angry because he was her favorite child, so she said. I believe that. But anyway, the point is, at the end of the day, when our times are numbered, we tend to go through an unconditional forgiveness state. That's what I've noticed. I don't know if you have. What do you think? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Forgive me, Father. Forgiveness will allow me to see things differently, to experience a whole different kind of love, a whole different kind of joy, the ending of heavy heartedness, if that's such a word, forgiveness. These are the words the Holy Spirit speaks in all your tribulations, all your pain, all your suffering, regardless of its form. It doesn't matter. Whether its form is illness, pain, suffering, it doesn't matter. The loss of a loved one, it doesn't matter. A divorce, an abuse. Forgiveness will get you back to your loving child in you, the child of God. These are the words with which temptation ends and guilt's abandoned is revered no more, revered no more. Mm. These are the words which end the dream of sin and rid the mind of fear. These are the words by which salvation comes to all the world. For if I forgive, everyone else does, whether it shows up or not. The idea is to keep that in your mind. Forgiveness will give you a different kind of world. Shall we not learn to say these words when we are tempted to believe that pain is real and death becomes our choice instead of life? How many of us are so angry, so disturbed, so unforgiving that we are physically, emotionally sick? Forgiveness will make things different. These are words which give you power over all events that seem to have been given power over you. Notice they say seems to. You see them rightly when you hold these words in full awareness, and do not forget these words apply to everything you see or any brother looks upon amiss. Forgive and you will see things differently. How can you tell when you are seeing wrong or someone else is failing to perceive the lesson he should learn? Does pain seem real in the perception? If it does, be sure the lesson is not learned. Ooh, how many people tell that story and still feel the pain of it? Then the lesson hasn't been learned. Forgiveness has not taken over. And there remains an unforgiveness hidden in the mind that sees the pain through the eyes the mind directs. God would not have you suffer thus. He would help you forgive yourself. His son does not remember who he is. God would have him not forget his love. and all the gifts his love brings with it. Would you now renounce your own salvation? Forgiveness is the way to peace. Would you fail to learn the simple lesson heaven teaches? Heaven's sat before you, and all pain may disappear, and God may remember by his Son. All things are lessons God would have you know. He would not have unforgiveness, an unforgiving thought without correction, nor one thorn or nail to hurt his holy Son in any way. It's our perceptions, our unforgiveness that gives us those aches and anxieties. He would ensure his holy rest remain untroubled and serene, without a care, in the eternal home which cares for him. He would have all tears be wiped away, with none remaining yet unshed, and none but waiting their appointed time to fall. For God has willed that laughter should replace each one, and that his Son be free again. Yes. Oh, Holy Spirit, you're amazing. Giving us this way. Reverend Bishop Bernard, how are you? Forgiveness is the only way to see things differently, to have peace and love, joy and happiness, to see that person or place or situation in a loving way, to ask God for help and assistance. Forgive, and this too will change. Forgive. And state, I forgive you. I forgive me. Yes, forgive is a mighty cure-all. So, we will attempt today to overcome 1,000 seemingly obstacles to peace in just one day. Let mercy come to you more quickly. Do not try to hold off another day, another minute, another instant. Time was made for this. Things can change in an instant. Use it today for what its purpose is. Morning and night, devote what time you can to serve its proper aim. And do not let the time be less than meets your deepest need. Oh, forgive me. Give all you can and give a little more. For now we would arise in haste and go unto our Father's house. We have been gone too long. We would linger here no more. As we practice, let us think about all things we saved to settle by ourselves. That unforgiveness of mommy and daddy and siblings, and that bully that bullied you, that man that hurt your heart, that woman who left you, that children who curse you, and all that craziness. We have help. Let us give them all to him, God, who knows the way to look upon them so that they will disappear. Truth is his message. Truth, his teachings is. His are the lessons God would have us learn. Each hour, spend a little time today and in the days to come in practicing the lesson of forgiveness in the form established for today. Try to give it application to the happenings for the hour so that the next time and the next one is free as the one before. The chains of time are easily unloosened in this way. Let no 1 hour cast a shadow on the one that follows, and when that goes, let everything that happened in this course, in its course, go too. Thus you're unbinding and unbound in peace eternally in the world of time. This is the lesson God would have you learn. There is a way to look on everything that lets it be to you another step to Him and to salvation of the world. To all that speaks of terror, the answer is, I will forgive and this will disappear. Say it to yourself. Write it in the chat. Put it on a piece of paper. I will forgive and this will disappear. When that person comes up to you to disrupt your peace, I will forgive and this will disappear. When that person calls to curse you out, I will forgive and this will disappear. When those tax people call you and say, oh, you owe so and so, I will forgive and this too will disappear. Say it out loud. Say it to yourself in a situation that you have no control over. To every apprehension, every care, and every form of suffering. Repeat these self-same words, and then you hold the key that opens heaven's gates. I will forgive, and this will disappear. Brings love of the Father, the God, the source, down to earth at last, to raise up the heavens. God will take this final step Himself. Do not deny the little steps He asks you to take. I will forgive, and this will disappear. Yes, I will forgive, and this will disappear. Yes. God is amazing, and you are here to do your part. Such a little part. Just a little part is for you to do. And this is the lesson that you say. This is the lesson that we learned today. Yes. Ah, hey, Ruby. Let me say hello to some people. You guys have a good God day. And remember, when life hurts your heart, remember to say, I will forgive, and this will disappear. Forgive, and I will see this differently. I am Rosa J, doing it God's way each and every day. I want to thank you for joining, for sharing, for being here, for supporting, for having forgiveness for me when I don't show up. And rest assured, it's not because I don't want to, it's just because I can't. I just can't do it. And so yesterday, I just couldn't do it. I had to wrap my head around forgiveness. I had to wrap my head around taking my spirit to another place. Because the world always wants to tell you something different. The world wants to show up as it wants to show up in our consciousness. So if we think the world is a bad place, guess what? We're only going to see those things that are bad. Today, I will forget, and this will disappear. In my consciousness, in my life, forgiveness is the first means to walk in heaven right here on earth. Not making contradictions, not justifying it. Well, so-and-so hadn't done this. How would have done that? No, it doesn't matter. For every situation, there is a solution, and God would ask us to allow Him to do the work. Yes, forgive. Have a good God day, a good golden God day, a gracious, abundantly happy, joyous, free day today. And remember, forgive and you'll see this differently. And I will forgive and this will disappear. I am Rosa J, doing it God's way each and every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. I love you, and there's nothing you could do that would ever change this. Be ever so blessed. Yes, be ever so blessed. I will forgive. I will see things different. See you tomorrow.